The last thing I expected to see when I walked into the bar was my own girlfriend, Maya. I was just there to pick up a takeout order after a long day. She was supposed to be having a quiet girls' night in with her friends, watching movies. At least that's what she told me. But there she was holding court at a corner table with her 3 best friends, all of them laughing loudly. I was about to walk over and surprise her when I heard my name. I froze near the service station, partially hidden by a fake plant. "He is so clueless, it's almost sad," Maya said, taking a big gulp of her drink. Her voice was loud, designed to be heard by her audience. "I'm seeing my affair partner tonight. My boyfriend thinks I'm out with the girls." Her friends exploded into laughter, not just little giggles, but full-on backslapping howls. One of them, Brianna, wiped a tear from her eye and said, "Maya, you are going to get caught one of these days." "Please," Maya scoffed, waving her hand dismissively. "He trusts me completely. He's a good little provider, works all day, comes home, pays the bills, the perfect cover." The bartender looked over at me, holding my bag of food. He had a pitying look on his face. He'd heard it too, the whole conversation. I just gave him a small, tight nod, walked over to the register, and pulled out my wallet. As I paid, I could still hear them. They were talking about the guy. His name was apparently Greg. I didn't say a word to them. I didn't storm over and make a scene. What would have been the point? To give them the drama they so clearly craved? No. Something inside me went completely silent and focused. The hurt was there, a deep, cold ache, but on the surface, there was only clarity. I walked out of that bar, got into my car, and just sat there for a minute, the smell of my now unappetizing dinner filling the air. She wasn't just cheating. She was bragging about it. She was mocking me, our life, everything I thought we were building, and her friends, her support system were cheering her on. My mind started working. Greg. I didn't know a Greg, but I knew how to find him. Maya was smart, but she was also arrogant. Arrogance makes people sloppy. I drove home, my mind a blank slate of cold calculation. The plan wasn't fully formed yet, but the foundation was there. She thought I was clueless. I was about to show her just how much I could figure out when properly motivated. When I got back to our apartment, I put the food in the fridge and went straight to her laptop, which she always left on the desk in our spare room. It was password protected, but after 3 years together, I knew her patterns. Her dog's name plus her birth year. I was in. It didn't take long. Her social media messages were a gold mine. Greg wasn't just some random guy. He was a colleague from her old job. A quick search of his name brought up his profile. He was older, maybe in his late 40s, and his profile picture was a smiling shot of him with his arm around a woman. His wife. Her name was Sandra. They had 2 kids, both in high school. The pieces clicked into place. This wasn't just a simple affair. This was a messy multi-level betrayal. I scrolled through Sandra's public profile. It was full of family photos, posts about her kids, soccer games, and proud updates about her husband's career. She looked like a nice person who had no idea her world was about to be blown apart. I looked at the message history between Maya and Greg. They were planning to meet at his place tonight after his wife and kids had left for a weekend trip to visit family. He had sent her the address. A nice house in the suburbs, about 45 minutes away. My first thought was to just send everything to Sandra. The messages, the pictures, burn it all down. But that felt too simple, too easy. Maya and Greg deserved more than just an angry text message. They deserved a consequence that was as public and humiliating as their own arrogance. A new plan began to form, more intricate and far more satisfying. Maya thought she was going to her affair partner's house for a secret night together. She was right about the house, that the person waiting for her inside wasn't going to be Greg. And I was going to make sure of it. Update 1: The 48 hours after I discovered the affair were the most focused of my life. I operated on pure adrenaline, every action precise and deliberate. My first task was to get Greg out of his own house on the night of the planned meeting. This required some digging. From Greg's public profile, I knew where he worked. It was a mid-level tech company. I also found his job title. A little more searching on a professional networking site gave me the name of his direct supervisor. People share a surprising amount of information online. My plan needed a believable emergency, something that would pull him away from his house without question. I created a temporary anonymous email address. Posing as a concerned colleague, I sent an email to his supervisor. I kept it vague but alarming. I wrote that I had overheard Greg talking about a major security flaw in their company's main client portal and that he seemed to be planning to exploit it for personal gain over the weekend. I mentioned that he seemed agitated and was talking about making them pay. It was a complete fabrication, but it was the kind of corporate nightmare that supervisors are paid to take seriously. To make it more believable, I included a few technical-sounding buzzwords I pulled from his company's website. I sent the email on Friday afternoon, about 3 hours before Maya was scheduled to arrive at his house. The next piece of the puzzle was Sandra, Greg's wife. This was the most delicate part. I couldn't just call her. I needed to present the information in a way that was undeniable and made her an ally, not an adversary. I created another anonymous email account. I wrote a short, direct message. Sandra, I am a stranger, but I have information that deeply affects your family. Your husband, Greg, is having an affair. The woman he is seeing is named Maya. They are planning to meet at your house tonight. I have attached screenshots of their conversations, including their plans for this evening. I am sorry to be the one to tell you this. What you do with this information is your choice. I attached a dozen screenshots, the most damning ones. The ones where they talked about her and the kids being out of town. The ones where they made fun of me. I sent the email and then deleted the account. The message was delivered. The rest was up to her. The final and most crucial step was ensuring Maya could get into the house. I knew Greg would be in a panic after a call from his boss. He'd be distracted. I needed to make sure the door was open for the drama to unfold. I used a simple text spoofing app, a tool that lets you send a message that appears to come from another number. I sent it to Maya's number and sent a message to Greg. Hey, running a little late. Leave the back door unlocked for me. Can't wait to see you. It was her style. Arrogant, a little demanding. He wouldn't question it. With all the pieces in place, all I had to do was wait. I spent that evening at my own apartment, tracking Maya's location through the app we shared. An app she insisted we get for safety, but which I now realized she used to make sure I was where I was supposed to be. I watched her little icon travel across the city, heading towards the suburbs. Around 8:30 p.m., my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a message popped up. It was from Sandra. Thank you, it said. That was all. At 9:15 p.m., Maya's icon arrived at Greg's address. I imagined her walking up to the house, full of excitement and anticipation. I imagined her finding the back door unlocked, just as she had asked. I imagined her stepping inside, expecting to find her affair partner, only to be met with the cold, hard reality of his wife. The silence on my phone was deafening. I knew the storm was breaking, and I was miles away, perfectly safe. Update 2. The first call from Maya came at 9:27 p.m. I ignored it. Then another, and another. A string of frantic, panicked texts followed. Where are you? Call me right now. Something terrible has happened. I let them pile up, each notification a small victory. I had a beer and turned on a movie, but I couldn't focus. My attention was to my phone. Then came the voicemails. The first one was just her, sobbing, barely able to speak. The second one was more coherent. Her voice was a choked whisper. She was here. His wife was waiting for me. She knew everything. She had pictures. Our texts. How did she know? She kicked me out. She threw my purse into the yard. I'm standing on the street. Greg won't answer his phone. Please, you have to come get me. I'm scared. The sheer, unadulterated panic in her voice was exactly what I had expected. Her perfect, secret world had imploded, and her first instinct was to call the very person she had betrayed to come and rescue her. The irony was delicious. I didn't call her back. I didn't text. I just let her stand there, on a dark suburban street 45 minutes from home, with no purse and no ride. An hour later, the calls started coming from Brianna, her friend. I ignored those too. Then came a text from a number I didn't recognize, probably another one of her friends. "Dude, whatever is going on between you and Maya, she's stranded and freaking out. You need to go get her. This isn't cool." I finally responded to that one. She told me she was having a girls' night in. If she's somewhere else, she must have her own ride. She's an adult. She can figure it out. The fallout over the next few days was a cascade of consequences. I got home from work on Monday to find a note taped to my apartment door. It was from Maya. A long, rambling apology scrawled on a piece of notebook paper. She wrote that she had made a terrible mistake, that Greg meant nothing and that she was terrified of losing me. She said she had to get a ride home from the police after a neighbor called about a woman crying on the sidewalk. I took the note, crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. The next day, I got an email from Greg. It was a pathetic, groveling message. He begged me not to tell anyone at our old company about the affair. He said his wife had kicked him out and was filing for divorce. He said he was ruined. He clearly thought I was the one who had contacted his boss about the fake security threat. I didn't correct him. I replied to his email with a single line. "Consequences are a funny thing, aren't they?" Maya, realizing that apologies and guilt trips weren't working, tried a different tactic. She showed up at my apartment. I didn't let her in. I spoke to her through the closed door. "Go away, Maya," I said. "Please, just let me talk to you," she pleaded. "I need to get my things." "I'll pack your things for you," I said. "Send me a mailing address." "You're not coming back in here." She started screaming then, calling me a monster, saying I had set her up, that I had ruined her life. I just walked away from the door and put on my headphones. The true beauty of the plan was its deniability. I never directly contacted her. I never directly contacted Greg after the initial setup. I just created the conditions for their own actions to destroy them. Sandra was the one who confronted her. Greg's boss was the one who called him into an emergency meeting. All I did was connect the dots. The smear campaign started soon after. Maya told all her friends that I was a psychopath who had stalked her and set her up. But the story had too many holes. Why was she at a man's house in the suburbs if she was supposed to be at a girls' night? How did his wife know she was coming? Her friends, especially the ones who had been at the bar, started to distance themselves. They had been happy to laugh at the joke when it was on me. They weren't so happy to be associated with the messy reality. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when Sandra contacted me again. She sent me a long email, thanking me. She said that my email had been the final push she needed to leave a marriage that had been unhappy for years. She also told me something interesting. In their divorce proceedings, Greg had to disclose his finances. It turned out he was deeply in debt, something he had hidden from everyone, including Maya. The fancy lifestyle he had been promising her was a complete fantasy. So not only had Maya's affair partner been exposed, but he was also a fraud. The life she was trying to upgrade to didn't even exist. Final update: it's been 3 months now and the dust has finally settled. The aftermath of that one night has been more comprehensive than I ever could have planned. After I refused to let Maya into the apartment, she had her father call me. He tried to be intimidating, talking about her rights as a resident. I calmly explained that her name wasn't on the lease and that she was welcome to pursue legal action if she felt she had a case. He backed down pretty quickly. I packed up every last one of her belongings into boxes. I took pictures of everything for my own records. She sent me a P.O. box address and I shipped it all to her at my own expense. It was the last dollar of my money she would ever see. Her life, from what I've heard, has completely unraveled. She couldn't afford to get her own place, so she had to move back in with her parents. The friend group that had been her echo chamber shattered. Brianna and the others, faced with the ugly reality of Maya's choices, slowly faded away. No one wanted to be tethered to that kind of drama, especially when it turned out Maya had been lying to them about Greg's financial situation and marital status. Greg's life imploded just as spectacularly. He and Sandra are in the middle of a very messy divorce. Sandra, armed with the evidence of his infidelity, has the upper hand. He apparently did get into serious trouble at work over the security threat email. Even though it was fake, the investigation into his work habits uncovered other unrelated issues and he was let go. Last I heard, he was living in a cheap rental and struggling to find a new job. About a month ago, I got a long, handwritten letter from Maya. It was different from her earlier apologies. It was the letter of someone who has hit rock bottom and has no one left to blame but themselves. She admitted everything. The arrogance. The lies. The way she used me. She said she finally understood the damage she had caused. She didn't ask for me back. She just said she was sorry. I read the letter and felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just a quiet sense of finality. The person who wrote that letter was a stranger to me. The person I had loved was a character she had been playing. I'm still in the same apartment. It feels bigger now. Cleaner. I've reconnected with my own friends and family and I've been focusing on my work. The whole experience taught me a hard lesson about trust, but it also taught me about my own strength. I didn't need to yell or break things or get even in a petty way. I just needed to be smarter. The revenge wasn't about the confrontation in Greg's house. It was about the quiet, inevitable collapse that followed. It was about watching someone who thought they were in complete control realize they had no control at all. Maya bragged to her friends that she was seeing her affair partner. And she did. She just never considered that his wife would be there to greet her. She thought I was the clueless boyfriend. In the end, the only person who was truly clueless was her. And that's a satisfying end to the story.